today, and I'm very happy to present a guest speaker today. This is Shayne Enright, and she works for the city and the Department of Emergency Services, specifically for ocean safety. And ocean safety has been a very important topic lately in the news, and then especially after our bout with Hurricane Darby. I'm sure we're very, very busy. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it right over to Shayne.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I think it's really important that Pam set this up. Not a lot of companies do this, so this is really great.
And she's a good gas customer.
Honolulu, so Kulama Road. Forget about that. But yes, a lot of what I'll talk about today is so serious. I mean, just starting off with this one right here, Pam asked to share this story, and it's as serious as it gets. I mean, life and death, right? So I'm going to show a few videos, a little bit dramatic stuff, but I hope it really drives home the message that this we're not messing around with. This is no joke. And before it shuts off,
Dr. Shayne, you're the Maku'u type.
There you
okay, I'm going to just start and then we'll go from there, and then please ask as many questions along the way as you'd like.
Yesterday, we're told 46-year-old Mark Horner from Berkeley, California, jumped in to save his 6-year-old girl, Mina. Mina was swimming in the tide pools with her two older sisters when a large wave came over and carried her out to sea. Mina's mother, Mark's wife, is originally from Honolulu. Emergency personnel brought Mark and Mina to Sandy Beach via jet skis. That's where lifeguards performed CPR. The two were taken to the hospital in critical condition where they later died. Family tells us Mark was an extremely good cyclist. He biked 9 days across 900 miles in the UK for charity last year. He was an avid surfer and he knew the waters here very well and would do anything for his 3 girls.
Tucker's just a fantastic human being. He jumped in trying to save her, and it's all true. And I don't think he wanted to come back empty-handed. Lost a best friend and older brother.
Tide pools is a popular swim spot near Maku'u in East Oahu that many of you know can become very dangerous.
So I'm sure, I mean, a lot of you have heard about this case already, and
Bob is my best employee.
way to go. I remember getting the call for this, and it comes across to me as 2 people in critical condition near drownings. And when you hear the circumstances, I know just from my background that they're not going to make it. There's only so long you can last in the water, and a 6-year-old just can't stay afloat that long. 5 minutes max, and once you're past that, I mean, you're going to have no brain activity as it is. And it's going to take us, it took us only 11 minutes to get our truck and ski into the water and launch and find them. But that's 11 minutes, obviously. I just said 5 minutes, so that's just no matter how quickly the lifeguards, the fire department, the paramedics respond to you, it's just never gonna be fast enough. And this spot, just raise a hand, who's been there before? Right. This particular day though, I was explaining to Pam, you know, he may have just promised his little girls that that was the day's events, and they were probably so excited, and at times it probably looked very calm. That's why it's so important to check the day's conditions before going out and seeing where the surf is going to go. Put 596 surf into your phone, and that will give you the conditions for the day. That will give you the surf report. That will tell you how the winds are going to change. The winds are so important, and I feel like people forget about that. The winds are what cause the surf to come in different directions, and in this case the 2 waves crashed up, and the littlest one, the 6-year-old, she wasn't strong enough to hold on. The other 2 sisters held on. So that's what happened in that case there, and of course that was a really, really difficult one. I had to just myself talk about it that day, and as you can imagine, it's very, very sad. So here's I'm gonna just run through this, and then we'll go over it after.
And we're slipping off the course that we prepared. But in all chaos there is calculation. Dropping glasses just to hear them break. You've been drinking like the world was gonna end. It took a shine from a fist to your best friend. It's clear that someone's gotta go. We need it, but I promise we're not mean. And the cry goes out. They lose their minds for us and how it plays out. Now we're in the ring and we're coming for blood. You could try and take us, but with the gladiators, everyone a rager, but secretly they're saviors. Glory and gore go hand in hand. That's why we're making headlines. You could try and take us, but victory's contagious. Delicate in every way but one. God knows we like archaic kinds of fun. Chance is the only game I play with, baby. We let our battles choose us. And the cry goes out. They lose their minds for us and how it plays out. Now we're in the ring and we're coming for blood. You could try and take us, but with the gladiators, everyone a rager, but secretly they're saviors. Glory and gore go hand in hand. That's why we're making headlines. You could try and take us, but victory's contagious.
Alright. So that last picture was that guy. He survived. We got him back. And the first one, anybody know where that first video of the two people on the rocks was?
Shark's Cove.
Shark's Cove.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shark's Cove. And I have to believe they weren't expecting that to happen, right? They had no idea. And once you're there, you're in shock. You just are. All of you, trust me, would have been in the same position. If you're there, you think like, we can all look at it now and be like, oh, what were they thinking? But they just weren't expecting that. They just didn't know that's what could happen. And then the other spot was Leie Point. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the movie where they jump off and it looks beautiful. Yeah, not exactly the same thing when there's surf going on. She extremely lucky that she made it out. Any questions so far? And then the last one there was Ehukai. He was a bodyboarder and he knew what he was doing, but he just hit his head on the bottom. So a little bit. Lifeguards, for the most part, work from 9 to 5:30. So that's when we recommend that you go to our beaches. That's when we're gonna be there. If something happens, we can call for help. We can call for EMS if you need anything, right? 9 to 5:30. And we have a saying called SOAK. The S stands for Study the Ocean's Conditions. So before you even go into the water, watch it for at least 10 to 15 minutes. That's how long it can take for the surf to change, for the winds to change, for you to actually see a real set come through. You might be thinking you're seeing the waves and they look small. Did you know 3 feet and under is where we see the most injuries? That's why Sandy Beach is one of our nicknamed Broke Neck Beach, because that's where we see the highest amount of spinal cord injuries. So study the conditions. What's going on? Is it windy? Is it rainy? You can actually see rips. You can see currents moving if you're paying attention. Good stuff to look for. Here, you can tell she was in the water, and that's a Kainoa McGee. He's a famous bodyboarder, but he's also a lifeguard. And he's telling her, hey, this is at Keiki Beach. Keiki?
Yeah.
So this is winter Keiki, right? Yeah. Summer Keiki, much different story. What are people doing? Observe. Are they surfing? Are they spearfishing? Are they body surfing. Pam was mentioning at Sandy Beach, she goes and there's no swimming signs. Well, they're not swimming. They're bodyboarding, they're body surfing, and they're surfing, and they've been doing it since they were 5 years old. Those are not the people we're concerned about, right? We're concerned about the family that comes from Hanauma Bay because they weren't able to get in because it had closed and they just want to get it to the beach. They've flown from New York thousands of miles and all they want to do is get into the ocean. But we let them know, hey, you know, this is probably not the beach for you. Keep driving a little bit more and go to Kailua, Waimanalo. Those are better beaches for you and your family. And that's what I highly recommend to you folks who have family visiting you. Because those are more the people that we're concerned about. I don't really think any of you are jumping off of spitting caves at this point in your life, or you know, going to like 8 Point. I don't know. But it's your family that comes here. You know, it's your kids. It's people that just don't know. We need you guys to be our voices out in the community. We only have so many of me. One. So here's some just, you know, activities out in the ocean, different conditions. Right, lifeguards are the most knowledgeable people you'll ever meet. They could be doctors, they could be lawyers, they're very, very intelligent people, and that's maybe a stereotype about lifeguards is that, you know, they're just hanging out at the beach, but guess what? They know their stuff. They're watermen and women every day, all day long. It's not just from 9 to 5:30 do they put on their red shorts and their yellow shirt. No, they know what they're talking about. So ask them and then listen to them. We have a big problem with people just, you know, blowing us off. So we really want people to listen to us because we have the knowledge, and we really want people to be safe, or we wouldn't be out there. Here's a group from Hanauma Bay. Who wouldn't want to go talk to them, right? And know your limits, know your capabilities. I do a lot of talks with military, and not to point them out or anyone, because it's everyone, but they come here and they tell me, you know, they were on their swim team back home, or they do triathlons in the lakes and all that, but it's just so different here with the currents. You may have heard of, you may be wondering why people drown at Hanauma Bay, right? It's the snorkeling. When you snorkel and you've never done it before, you suck in water and your body goes into shock, and it actually paralyzes your vocal cords. So you're unable to even yell for help. The Japanese, the Asian community that comes, they don't like to raise a lot of attention to themselves either. So we find that they didn't want to call for help. They thought they could maybe take care of the situation with themselves. So snorkeling is one that's very scary. Just knowing your limits. Are you a strong swimmer? If you're going down to the tide pools with your kid, can you rescue your kid if you are out in the water? Do you know which direction to even go? If you're out at the tide pools and you're a strong swimmer, should you go left to Makapu'u around, or should you go right to Sandy Beach? Do you know that? Well, you should go right to Sandy Beach because that's the way the currents will take you. So you don't want to fight. But if you don't know stuff like that, then don't take the risk, because there's always the possibility that you can land in the ocean. What will you do? And I'm just trying to be serious, because fatalities, especially pediatric drownings, we see it a lot, unfortunately. So we get immune to it, you know. We're EMS, we see people dying all the time, but we just have to drive home the point that it could be you and your family. These are both North Shore cases. I mean, I'm stating the obvious. I'm not trying to make anybody look bad, but not in the best of shape. So just know that it can take a lot of energy. Sharks Cove, they were just raked across the rocks. Painful. Tide pools, I believe, fell, spinal injury. Lifeguards, we're not there to watch your kids for you, right? Or we'd be getting paid what babysitters get paid. They get paid more than lifeguards. So here's some instances, and all where you see the headlines, but unless it impacts you, you really don't know. And even though these weren't my children, I can tell you it impacts me because I see the parents, and I hear the communication of how long people try to do CPR on the kids. So it's reality. These are not just headlines. These are families. So if you do have kids, the city does offer a junior lifeguard program across the entire island, and it's free for kids 12 to 17. I did it. I highly recommend you putting your kids into it. It's every summer. There they are. Yeah, it's an awesome program. Just some shots, blowhole. We've had a few fatalities here. People just getting knocked off into the water. Backside of Hanauma Bay called Land Bridge. It's a popular one. I'm not saying you can never do it, you just need to know the conditions of the day. This was a CPR case at Makaha, backside of Hanauma Bay. Kids jumping in, all of them had to be rescued. Yeah. I don't know if you can read this one. I feel a little bit bad for using this one, but I don't think you can make out who they are. If anybody knows Keller YK, sorry. Lifeguard said not to go because of strong winds and high current. We went anyways. Thanks for being my anchor and not letting me die. This is Rockbridge. We had told them not to go. She got her 4 likes. But social media is really getting people into trouble. It's capturing that great shot with the wave coming behind you. It's wanting to show off, because that's sort of what it comes down to, where you were with your hot boyfriend that day. But it's getting people killed. It is, and that's the reality. Lays marking where people have died. He fell off the backside of the Mokaluas by himself, and thankfully a group paddling came by and saw him and called 911, and we rescued him, and he came back to say thank you. Moihole, this is out in Waianae. 3 fishermen, and they were drinking, and one fell in, and we recovered his body. Sandy Beach, hit the reef. And a little bit about where we are and beaches and operations and all that. But yeah, so any questions? Sorry if I'm talking.
Something you said earlier to me, that lifeguards have no enforcement.
Oh, right. So we can tell you until we're blue in the face not to go in the water, beach closed signs, no swimming signs, but at the end of the day, the lifeguards don't have handcuffs or a gun. So they can't stop you. If you go in, they're gonna have to go in after you and rescue you, risking their own safety, but no enforcement capabilities. So we can't prevent anybody from going into the ocean. Only people that can do that are HPD. Let's see what else.
Have you ever had the situation where you actually just called HPD?
Yes, but that's only during the tsunami events. Yeah, where it's just like
Stupidity of the
Yeah.
fires.
It's totally insane.
yeah,
And then
Right.
you think, Darwin, maybe you should let them.
right. But yeah, because by the time they get there, it's not considered an emergency because there's no life in danger right away. And nobody's dying right then. So they're not gonna. They have other things to do too, and they, I'm not saying they think that same way, but unfortunately, there are people that totally dismiss what we say. But those aren't the people that we can really reach. It's the people like you who, are intelligent, who have families coming to visit, who can really be our voices of reason. for the entire island. And it's not just Oahu, of course, it's all the islands, all neighbor islands, and there's fewer lifeguards on the neighbor islands, so even more so to be very careful and know CPR, you know how to do CPR, because one day you may have to do it, and you want to be comfortable with that.
Good segue, because I'm offering a class here at TOPA. I'm sending out an email today.
There was one other thing, the website.
Yes, great website. Ocean Safety, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's in the airports now, on Big. It's really simple. It's Hawaii Beach Safety, know before you go. And you can click on different islands and it shows you different beaches.
Let's go look at Oahu. I want to know what
Okay.
Sandy Beach is doing today.
Oh. I hope
Well, there's one beach closed.
Oh, it looks like red.
Yeah, so that's just telling you, like, there's surf, and just to be careful, right? But we'll put up things like if there's a shark sighted.
And this is updated daily.
Quick, hourly,
Like real time.
minutely. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. Yeah, it's updated constantly.
This was new to me. Did you
This
guys
is
all know
new.
I didn't
this?
even know this.
Yeah, this is, we did a thing on it with the media when we put posters in the airports. So,
Nice.
yeah, so it's just hawaiibeachsafety.com, and it's really good, and it has all the neighbor islands. The neighbor islands aren't updated as frequently as here on Oahu because they don't have the personnel. But sharks, brown water advisories, all sorts of those type of things we update. But I don't know,
Any questions, comments?
comments?
Yep. SOAK, what does that stand for? S is for study the ocean.
Yeah.
O, observe, good. A, yeah, I forgot that one. And K. K.
Know your limit.
Know your limitations. So that's a great acronym.
Yeah. So, I mean, were you guys surprised with the tide pools one? Like, just knowing that, yeah, was it? Yeah, I always try to, like, ask what other people think, like, or can you, because some people say, well, I go down there all the time, you know, why would that happen to them? It could have happened to me. Or some people are like, I would never go down there, you know, I know better not to go down there. But there are days you can go down there, but again, you better be able to swim. Even if it is like Lake Placid, like super calm, like you better be a good swimmer because it can still, the currents can still get crazy out there.
Is there a way to know which beaches have lifeguards?
Yes, right here is the best.
Okay.
So
Oh,
we
it
have
says lifeguard beaches.
29.
29 lifeguard beaches.
We now have 7 mobile responses, so if you hear in the news that we're trying to get more rescue, we call them rescue watercrafts, but they're jet skis, because that's gonna be the future. That's how we're gonna be responding. We see, our visitor industry has changed where people are not going to Waikiki Beach, right? They're going out and about and they're venturing and they're going to places where we call unguarded areas. And that's really our big concern right now, these unguarded areas. Because we just can't see you and can't prevent you from getting into trouble. But that's sort of all I have.
That was fabulous.
Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
I'm going to be calling her frequently.
Thank you all for my dad.
Thank you.